You've probably been there, right? A project gets the green light, everyone knows what to do, the team is totally ready to go, and then nothing happens. It's one of the most common and, frankly, most maddening mysteries in any organization. Well, in this explainer, we are going to get to the bottom of why this happens. And trust me, the answer is probably not what you think.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll look at the problem itself, what we're calling the waiting game. Then we'll investigate why our usual explanations just don't cut it. After that, we're diving deep into the invisible rules that are really running the show, how they create this nasty cycle of inaction, and finally, we'll land on this core idea, the permission paradox that keeps so many teams completely stuck.
All right, first up, the waiting game. It's that super frustrating, all too familiar feeling of inertia that I bet a lot of you know firsthand.
I mean, this is the heart of it, isn't it? The resources are there, the mission is clear, the people are more than capable. But instead of action, there's just this weird, silent pause. It's like there's an invisible barrier holding everyone back, waiting for something. But what is it? What are they waiting for?
So, when things grind to a halt like this, where do we usually point the finger? Let's take a look at the usual suspects, because more often than not, we're completely misdiagnosing what's actually going on.
Our brains just immediately jump to conclusions about people's character, don't they? We start asking, are people just being lazy? Do they not care about this project? Is the team unmotivated? Or even worse, are they just incompetent? You see how all these questions focus on the people, assuming the problem is some kind of individual flaw?
And that's our typical checklist, right? Lack of motivation, apathy, a bad attitude. But here's the thing, these are just the symptoms we can see. The real cause, that underlying dynamic, well, that's the part that's usually invisible.
So to really understand this waiting game, we have to stop looking at the players and start looking at the hidden rules of the game itself. This is where we uncover the real system humming away just underneath the surface.
And the absolute key to this whole thing is a concept called psychological safety. Now, this isn't about being nice or trying to avoid conflict. It's that unspoken feeling within a team, that gut check that tells you whether it's actually safe to take a risk. Can you try something new and fail without it becoming a career-limiting move? The answer to that question changes everything.
Think about it like this. Every company has its official employee handbook, right? But then there's the invisible rulebook. This is the one that really matters. It's not written down anywhere. You learn it by watching who gets promoted, who gets praised, and, more importantly, who gets punished. This book tells you how things actually work around here, no matter what the official policies say.
So when a totally rational employee is thinking about taking initiative, they go through this subconscious risk calculation. First, they see the opportunity. Then, they weigh the potential reward for success against the potential penalty for failure. And in an environment with low psychological safety, the penalty for making a mistake almost always feels way, way bigger than the reward for success. So what's the logical conclusion? The absolute safest move is to just wait. Wait for explicit, cover-your-backside orders.
And here's where it gets really tricky. This rational choice to wait doesn't just happen once. Nope. It actually feeds back into the system, creating a self-perpetuating cycle of inaction that just gets stronger and stronger over time. Let's look at how that works.
Okay, here's the feedback loop. It starts with low safety, which makes people hesitant to take initiative. That leads employees to wait for direct orders to avoid risk. Then, management sees this waiting and, you guessed it, they misinterpret it as apathy or a lack of drive. So what do? They become more controlling, more prescriptive to try and force action. But of course, that just reduces psychological safety even more, reinforcing the exact behavior they were trying to fix in the first place. It's a vicious cycle.
And the result of this? You get a system that is perfectly, if unintentionally, designed to produce waiting. Inaction isn't some bug in the system. It becomes the system's stable, predictable, and default feature. It's the path of least resistance for absolutely everyone involved.
Okay, so if this cycle is so obviously damaging, why do our attempts to fix it almost always fail? Well, the answer lies in the incredible resistance of the system itself.
Come on. We've all seen these attempts. Leadership puts up some motivational posters that say, be proactive, or they run these expensive innovation workshops. But these things fail because they do absolutely nothing to change that core risk calculation we talked about. A poster on the wall doesn't make it any safer to fail. A one-day workshop doesn't change what happens to the next person whose big idea doesn't pan out. These fixes are just addressing the symptoms, not the actual system.
All of this brings us to a final and pretty sobering conclusion. It's a fundamental conflict that sits right at the heart of so many organizations. We can call it the permission paradox.
Let that sink in for a second. The system says it wants one thing: proactivity, new ideas, innovation. But its invisible rulebook, the actual structure of rewards and punishments, incentivizes the exact opposite, just being passive, compliant, and waiting for orders. People are just responding perfectly to the real incentives they're being given. And that leaves us here, with a final thought to completely reframe this whole issue. What if we stop looking at the waiting as the problem we need to solve? What if instead we see it for exactly what it is? A perfectly logical, rational, and frankly intelligent response to the environment people find themselves in. Making that one shift in perspective, well, that's the real first step to understanding why this happens.